Hello students. So in the last session we have done the summary of the poem A Tiger in the Zoo, and now we are going to do the literary devices and the rhyme scheme. First let's go for the rhyme scheme. So if you will check here the last words. So in the first line last word is stripes, then cage, quiet and rage. Now if we will name this as first line last word stripes as A, cage as B, quiet as C. Now why we are naming? Because here stripes, cage, quiet doesn't rhyme with each other. But as we will go for the second and the fourth line, cage is rhyming with rage. So we are going to term it as B. So the rhyme scheme becomes here AB, CB. Okay. Then proceeding in the second stanza, shadow we will consider it as A. Then sliding through long grass, grass as B. Hole as C. Pass as again B, because grass and pass is rhyming. So whichever words are rhyming, that we will be giving the same letter, use the same letter there. So the rhyme scheme for the second is also A, B, C, B. So further if you will go on watching the lines and the rhyming words, you will find that the second and the fourth words are rhyming, like edge, village, bars, visitors, cars, stars. So that is why everywhere the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. Same way here it's A, B, C, B. Why B? Because bars, visitors are rhyming. Then same way last one also A, B, C, B. So overall the rhyme scheme of this poem is A, B, C, B, because the second and the fourth word is rhyming. Now let's proceed further for the literary devices. Now in the first stanza, if you will check, in the first line, he stalks in his vivid stripes. So here the sound of S is repeated. Stalks, his S sound, stripes, and again at the end also. So the consonant sound is repeated, and that consonant sound is of S, that is S sound is repeated. So here the literary device is consonants. So when any consonant sound is repeated twice or thrice in the lines, then we say the literary device as consonants. In the same way, in the first line itself, I sound is also repeated. So like in, so sound of I is actually E. So in, his, he, vivid, I sound, and stripes. So in this vowel I sound is repeated, so the literary device is assonance. Now moving further, here if we will check pads of velvet. So actually pads of velvet means here the poet want to tell about the paws. The tiger's paws are being compared with the pads of velvet. So the literary device is metaphor. Then after reading the first two lines, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage. Stalks means walks. So as we read these lines, a image stands in front of our eyes. In that image we can visualize that there is a cage, and in that cage the tiger is moving from here and there. So here a picture or image is been created by reading these lines. So here the literary device is imagery. Then in the last line, that quiet rage. Quiet means silent, without saying anything, keeping mum, silent, while rage is anger. So here two contradictory words, opposite words are used together. quiet rage. So silently, quiet is silently, and rage means in a very angry mood, angry. So here two contradictory words are used, so this becomes an oxymoron. So it is an oxymoron. So let's go to the second stanza. In the second stanza, again we can see that there is an enjayment. Now enjayment is nothing but the lines which end without any punctuation mark. Like it will continue further. So in the second line, second stanza, second line, sliding through long grass near the water hole. So here you can see the line is continued without giving any of the punctuation mark. Full stop, comma, colon, semicolon, nothing is been used at the end of the line. So that literary device becomes enjambment. Then the next important is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is nothing but using the sounds of the animals as it is. So like snarling, this is nothing but the sound. So loud sound made by the animals is called snarling, or loud shouting is snarling. So same snarling word is used, so it is an onomatopoeia. Then the next, again in this we can see that there are lot many consonants and assonance literary devices used. So here in this, if we will check, the sound of O and I is been repeated. So sound of O is repeated where? In the line like should, around, houses. O sound is repeated, so it is assonance. Then bearing, I sound, that is E. Bearing his white, again his. So here E sound is repeated, that is why again this is assonance. Then the next important literary device in this is personification, because here the tiger, if you will see that tiger is compared to a human, he's been said refer as, the tiger is been referred as he, his. So you can see overall wherever the tiger has to be mentioned, so tiger is mentioned as he or his, him. So that is why the literary device here is personification. Then in the third stanza, if we will check, the word his is repeated twice. So obviously the literary device is repetition. So wherever the words are repeated twice or thrice, then the literary device is repetition. So these are some of the literary devices from the poem. You can find many again assonance and alliteration literary devices. Like you can see the assonance in this also, with his brilliant eyes. So here I sound is repeated, that is why it is a assonance. It is an assonance. Then he hears, so that also it becomes, we can see he hears, H sound is repeated, her, so it is alliteration. So these are the few literary devices from the poem. I hope you have understood the literary devices and the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B, because the second and the fourth word rhymes with each other. And the main literary devices are personification, metaphor, then assonance, consonance, enjambment, oxymoron, onomatopoeia. So these are the few literary devices that we have learnt in this poem. So that's it. We are at the end of the poem. If you are having any difficulty, just WhatsApp me and go through the poem one more time.